Hey YouTubers, that's MJ. I'm Mark. We're here to talk to you guys today about 17 and his character in Dragon Ball Z, History of Trunks special, and also Dragon Ball Super. And there's something I've noticed about 17 in the last couple of episodes that we've actually got to see him, in the build up to this particular fight. And I just keep asking myself, man, is this guy a sociopath? And before we go any further, MJ and I just wanted to kind of ask this question to you guys. Now, we got a little list of things that, are supposedly kind of, I guess, ways that you can kind of determine whether or not someone's a sociopath. So what we're going to do is we're going to not only talk about 17 when it comes to these particular points, but we're also going to basically come to a consensus using not only the main timeline, but the History of Trunks timeline 17 as a whole. Nothing in GT or the movies or something, because that's not officially canon in Dragon Ball. So
can't believe you just said that.
I know, right? Anyway, guys. So with that being said, just because MJ had the nerve to look it up, I'm going to have him go over and tell you exactly what Google says a sociopath is. MJ.
No, the real reason I looked it up is because I didn't know what the fuck it meant. I wasn't going to do a video on something I didn't know, but basically, I get it all confused. Psychopath, sociopath, whatever. So basically, a sociopath is a person with a personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitude and behavior and a lack of conscience.
So that sounds...
That's 17.
Much like 17. Yeah, that's 17 right there. Like, I'm just telling you guys, like, we don't even really have to go. That's the video. So if you want the real answer right now,
so
that's
see you later,
the video.
Guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Okay, so that's 17. But what we're going to go here is go down a list of, commonly referred to, like, telltale signs that someone is a sociopath, or you yourself is a sociopath, and kind of explore this topic based on what we've seen or heard from 17 throughout the entire series. So first off, one of the big points here is, does this person that you're looking at, whether it's yourself or the other person, like I said, do they shrug off important subjects? Do they exhibit superficial charm? That type of stuff. So I'm going to say yes, he does. I mean, I think one of the best examples for that in the last couple episodes was how he greeted Marin and didn't even really know her name, to the point where 18 said that she would literally like kill him if she got her name wrong. He's just like, oh, scary.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't know anything about his family, and he even kind of fakes a charming attitude to basically, I guess, say hello to them. It doesn't seem like, at least to me, that him and 18 even have a huge relationship amongst themselves.
What's interesting is there's an outside interview. I can't remember where it's in, if it's in Shozenshu or whatever, but there's an outside interview with Toriyama, and I believe it's mentioned that supposedly 17 has met 18, Marin, and Krillin before, which is obviously why, and they alluded to that in Super, where he goes, if he gotten so big. Supposedly, it mentions that Toriyama specifically wanted to put this in, is that they have not met his family yet, supposedly. Or at least at the time, he didn't take his family with them to meet 18 and Krillin. I always thought that was very interesting. I didn't know why Toriyama wanted to put that in there. Gunner is a big fan of our content. Gunner on Twitter, so if he's watching this, he'll know. He'll probably tweet me on Twitter the link to all that stuff. So thank you, Gunner, if you do that. I just never understood why that was put in there. You know what I mean? Like, why is 17 ashamed of his family? Does he not care? Does he not want him to
Uh-huh. I mean, who really knows? But I guess there are a couple of these points that we could talk more about that. The second one here that I think is pretty interesting when it comes to 17 is, do you or the person kind of exhibit this self-centered attitude with like an inflated sense of self? And I mean, that's 17 down to a core. I mean, back in the fight with Piccolo, and also, I mean, for the most part, Imperfect Cell, where he was, no one is stronger than me, and blah, blah, blah. He kind of lost it, and he kind of had, the I am the hype situation that Team 4 Star has kind of been jumping on the last couple times. I mean, that was his moment. We get to see just how much of an egotist that he actually is. He's so egotistical about thinking that he is stronger than everyone else.
To be fair, I don't think... Okay, so yeah, he does have that moment, but it's not like the other villains have never done that before. Cell did it to Gohan, Frieza did it to Goku, even Boo did it to Ultimate Gohan. So I think that's maybe just a theme among Toriyama and his villains, that they do have that ego, side to them, that egotistical side to them.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And I mean, but when it comes down to it, this is the discussion on 17. So I think like I think he does exhibit that, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
like,
he does have an egotistical side. That is a trait of him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't necessarily ever see that with someone like anyone else in that arc, besides Cell. And most other non-big name villains don't have that idea. Like, they get kind of absurd. They feel like it's absurd, when Vegeta, who is a low-class warrior who can beat like Zarbon and Dodoria or the Ginyu Force, like they're overcome with this shouldn't be possible, but they're not sitting there complaining or have this inflated sense of self that 17 does. And I think that scene stands out, especially with his character as opposed to everyone else.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Let's see. So, lie to you or others. I think that's the next one I want to cover. So, has there and this is an honest question. Have we ever seen him lie to anyone right to their face? I can't really remember anything, and I don't necessarily think we've ever seen him lie or actually have to kind of keep anything. He's just so nonchalant about almost everything.
That's true. However, it makes me wonder if Goku didn't pick up on him holding back, would he have lied about holding back? Would he? That comes to mind because Goku was the one who said it. Oh, so you're holding back, aren't you? And of course, 17 didn't lie. But I mean, what if Goku didn't say that? What if Goku said, "You're pretty strong, 17"? Would he never even mention that he was holding back? But then again, that's just keeping it a secret. It's not really lying. It's like you didn't ask me, that type of thing.
Yeah, that type of thing we've seen from like you said, literally almost every single person in the entire series is, everyone either fights at their absolute maximum or they're holding back significantly. There is literally no middle ground in Dragon Ball whatsoever.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, other than that, I don't think I've ever really seen him lie. I mean,
I agree. I don't ever think I've actually seen him lie to anyone else.
Yeah.
But tell us in the comment section below if we're missing anything. Let's see. So another one is shows a lack of guilt and or remorse when he or she hurts somebody. Now, that is grade A 17.
Yeah, I can think of a few moments, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, like you said, most villains or most people in Dragon Ball have this ability or have this, I guess, mentality of themselves where they kind of don't have remorse for hurting other people, and I completely understand that. And it might make this whole talk, this whole point invalid, but at the same time, 17 I feel like is especially more unique in this regard, not only because he is kind of someone of the main cast, if you would consider him at this point a person of the main cast, who has turned over a new leaf and stopped doing what he was originally meant to be doing, which was kill Goku. But he does still show these tendencies, and I really want to kind of bring in something here that essentially was not necessarily the main timeline, but the Future Trunks timeline, because I do feel like even though it's not the same 17 that we're seeing in Super, they do have the same mentality. I think they keep it very consistent with each other. At the beginning part where they show up in Dragon Ball Z with that special, because it's just a different timeline. It's just a different variation of how things could have gone. And with 17 holding so much more power over the entire world than he did in the main timeline, we just don't get the exact same character. But with that being said, there is a scene in the Future Trunks arc where it appears to me, I can't remember if it's like this on the English. I know it's in the English dub, but I don't know if it's in this Dragon Ball, the Japanese dub, whether or not 18 gets her clothes and then she's not going to she's going to basically let the guy live, but he just basically blows it up for no reason at all, other than the fact that he just likes killing people sometimes. I
think she even gets mad at him, and he's just like, "Hey, we're playing a game, keep up, right?" or something like that. So
yeah,
he had no remorse for killing, for destroying that place, and then for killing, that man inside,
Mm-hmm. And that's like also mowing down people with cars. And when Trunks came back, you know, like the whole pointing the gun at the guy's head and wanting to play that game with him because he had insulted him and everything, he definitely takes some like sickening pleasure to the whole concept of killing or hurting other people with absolutely zero remorse.
Oh yeah, most definitely, because he could have just, with as strong as 17 is, you know, like Super Saiyan level strength, he could have just easily ended that quickly, but instead he chose to play with that old man, play with his mind, kind of like torture him, you know what I mean? Do that, play mind games with him with the gun and stuff, and kind of give his death, just make it that much worse, you know?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you take this next one if you feel like you can. I think this one's also really worth talking about. It says, do you or the other person, do they appear to be shallow or have feelings that are very superficial? And I think that there's a lot of stuff that we've gotten from this to explain how this relates or even describes 17. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think so. I would have to say that, yeah. I think he does show a, I guess, superficial side, especially with what we've seen in Super, especially his interactions with 18 and Krillin and Marin and stuff. And I mean, what do you think? I would think so.
It's really weird to me because when you're looking at his family, I mean, blood family, 18 is his blood family. He doesn't seem to have any, you know, he doesn't seem to actually have that sense of compassion or a familial bond with 18. We have never ever seen him react or interact with his family, and I know that's kind of a gripe for a lot of people, but at the same time, he was willing to let them die. And even more, you know, ridiculously, he probably let them die when Boo took over.
Yeah.
And like, because I think you and I have discussed this before, but I think it's worth noting that when Boo killed everybody, Ten Shinhan and Chaozu survived.
Yeah, they dodged the beams.
There's no way, and they eventually came to help, but there was no way whatsoever that 17 got killed from those beams if Ten Shinhan and Chaozu could survive that damn shit. So,
yeah, if his family did get murdered by Boo, the fact that he didn't, I would assume, go looking for a fight with Boo or to go at least help Ultimate Gohan and Trunks and Goten and Piccolo, to me just tells me he really is not an understanding character. You know what I mean? He probably just saw that and just said, oh, just the way stuff's supposed to happen. So, and then continued watching his island, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, in my opinion, that does kind of come off as very superficial into his character.
Yeah.
You know, these feelings that aren't necessarily real, they're more shallow. It's like,
you're not
well,
understanding person, you know?
Yeah, it's like, this is the way life is basically supposed to be, so let's just live life the way that is and not really question or really talk about things, because there was no indication that he died. We just saw him at the end of that arc. So
yeah,
even though we haven't really necessarily seen them interact, it's been interesting to see that you can at least argue the fact that his family died and he didn't give a crap. So so on the other hand, it says let's see, trouble empathizing with others' pain, and also callous towards others. So I would say, and you know, this all kind of just keeps playing into each other. You just kind of think of this like at the beginning, you said 2 minutes into this video, is like, you know, is he? Yes, he kind of does meet that. Like, it all kind of plays into each other. So we'll pick up the pace here. But when it comes to that, like, I definitely haven't necessarily see him be overly callous towards others. In fact, you know, kind of going back on what we said earlier, he did show 16 some kind of brotherly compassion by having them basically wake him up and also kind of taking him along and everything like that. So potentially he did have some feelings, and he's not necessarily totally callous towards everyone, but the mere fact that he would let everyone else die or the entire universe get erased just because he doesn't want to fight makes no sense to me.
Yeah, but you could also chalk up the whole 16 thing as to him kind of like wanting to see the unexpected, because going off of Garrow's statements, it's like if you, especially the dub, if you unleash that android, it's like all hell break loose. So it's like 17's like, oh, that's interesting. Got my dick hard, So I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I forget. I gotta keep it PG, but
yeah, keep PG, man. Keep
but
PG.
basically, my point is, you could probably chalk that up to him just being like, wanting to see the unexpected and just kind of see what would happen if he did unleash 16. Not so much that I guess he saw him as like a brotherly cyborg. I don't know. At least it's the way I interpreted the scene. Different opinions, different views. But going off of that, yeah, he did come off as like he did not give two shits whatsoever about the universe is being destroyed. And again, that meshes in with what you were just talking about with the boo stuff. It's like, it's just the way it's supposed to happen, and that's the way he sees it. If our universe is going to get destroyed, then so be it. I don't know. I noticed that when he said that, no one really liked that statement. I know it's on Twitter that no one really liked that whatsoever. A Scouter liked it. For the love of God, I can't remember what Scouter told me, but like when they were on Skype and he told me he's heard that before. It's not like it's like a bad writing, quote unquote, saying. He said he's like heard it before in some poem or in something. Like, it's almost like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying like Scouter liked it. No one else did.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of people liking that particular side of him. It's not what we really expected after having not seen him for so long. And that really feeds into the last 2 points here. Kind of going off that is like, is 17, is he impulsive or is he irresponsible in one way or another? To you.
I think he's irresponsible.
How so?
Because in a world with Dragon Ball, there's constantly stuff going on. It ain't a safe place. I don't care how many years of peace there is. It ain't a safe place. So with that being said, the fact that he doesn't visit his family that much, or the fact that he stays at work that much just to watch over a fucking what is it, a Minotaurus, or I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, it's like something.
I think he needs to check his priorities, in my opinion. I just think he needs to do that.
It's weird because I honestly kind of always saw him as he's not really that impulsive. I guess you could argue the fact that his History of Trunks arc self is more impulsive than the main timeline, just based on what we've seen thus far. But he does seem responsible. I mean, he does, it's how you take it. It's a matter of weight, really, when he does have a family that he should be taking care of.
That's
but at the
true.
Same time,
but I was going to back you
at the same
up on
time,
this.
he has the job.
He has a job. But I was going to back you up on
passionate.
this. Is the whole impulsive stuff, the whole History of Trunks timeline, you could just kind of sum that up to them just growing up, in a different way. Like, they lived in a different time. They killed the Z Fighters, and then they pretty much just played a game of murdering people. Whereas here, they tried to kill the Z Fighters, they couldn't, and then they got sucked up by Cell. And then, 17 just had to live his life on his own. Him and 18, I guess, separated. They parted their ways. So, it's just like the multiverse theory, Like, the whole Stephen Hawking stuff. It's just like different circumstances, different events change you, So.
Mm-hmm. And I like that, too. And before I say this last one, I just want to make it very clear that these are more general terms. I'm taking a multitude of lists and stuff I found online, stuff I've been reading, stuff I've already known basically for a long time, and just trying to, I guess, put it in one way or the other. Nothing of what we say here and the multitude of what we said here don't constitute you. If you kind of feel like you or someone I guess, fall into one or two of these factors, that doesn't really make you a sociopath, or that person a sociopath or a psychopath or something else like that. It's not what we're trying to get at all. But with that being said, one of the big things a lot of people always talk about here is situations where you have, especially youth, like juvenile delinquents or people on parole or people with extensive criminal histories. And I definitely think, and I think it was true, like one of the reasons Dr. Garrow actually got them was because they were two juvenile delinquents. I could be wrong.
I could agree with that. Yeah.
I think Toriyama did do an interview and explain their backstory, and it was that the fact that they were kidnapped, but they were like these delinquents, and I think it comes across significantly in their personalities that they definitely do have this situation where they they don't necessarily care about the rules of society. They really want to have fun and do whatever they want. And more specifically, that comes across in the Future Trunks arc, or the History of Trunks special, than it is in the main timeline. But at the same time, that is potentially their backstory, at least if I remember that interview right. So I think that does help portray why 17 not only is the way he is, but is also just grounds to kind of say that, yeah, maybe this guy is a sociopath when it comes to being a character.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Anyway, guys, with that being said, we are going to leave it up to you guys, as MJ likes to say, and I also always mean to say, the discussion doesn't end with us. We want to talk to you guys in the comment section below, so make sure to go share all your thoughts and opinions about this particular topic. And make sure to go check out MJ. The guy makes some really awesome Dragon Ball content, anime content, daily stuff for you guys. The next big Dragon Ball tuber, as I like to call him. And this guy.
Stop sucking me off, bro. What are you doing?
Anyway, guys, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell over by the subscriber button for more notifications anytime I upload. And with that being said, we're going to catch you on the next video. Bye.